All right, guys, I want to thank everybody for coming back to the show and watching us. We have all 3 episodes up at the Draken Station. We are on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, and soon Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
And this show would not happen if it wasn't for the man, the legend himself, the thriller from Manila, Jamie.
The master of disaster. The Miami Hitman. Talking about myself. Hero to all. And, the envy of all men. That's me. I have Truman, who is one of our guys in South Florida who's worked with us for a bit now. And he's got a very interesting life story. He is the CEO and founder of Truman Tactical out in South Florida. Bingo, right there, Truman Tactical. So if you have any needs for firearms training, contact Truman Tactical, and we'll put his information in the description below. But Truman, can you talk a little bit about yourself and let the audience know who you are and all that good stuff?
So I'm really just your average Joe. I'm a civvy, no military experience or anything like that, but firearms fanatic. And I'm a father of 3, 13, 9, and 4. I'm a stay-at-home dad, other than doing my Truman Tactical stuff, or if I get an occasional gig from Draken or somebody else who wants to pay me for my skills. Then sometimes I consider it, but I have the pleasure of having a wife who makes big bucks, so
It's always a plus.
she lets me home.
How did you acquire your skills?
I studied martial arts since I was 6 years old. My dad is actually a Grand Master, which, yes, that basically means he has a black belt in 3 different styles. And he did amateur boxing as well. He pretty much trained me my whole life and, taught me the importance of hand-to-hand. And then when I got a little bit older, I started falling in love with firearms.
Nice.
And from there, I just took off and took classes under Esoteric and a bunch of other, companies that teach high-level training and firearms tactics. And now I combine all of that like I would with my different martial arts backgrounds and put it all together. So also what we're planning on doing with Truman Tactical is my dad wants to get back into teaching, even though he's, older in age. He wants to take over that too, so we can do hand-to-hand as well as firearms.
Nice. You've got an interesting story, interestingly enough, all of our guys do. So I'm going to put it out there. You were actually a exotic dancer. Right?
Okay, I got to hear this story. Right.
So how did you get prior to becoming, this hardcore mercenary, this tactical, guru? You were a exotic dancer, man. How did you get into that?
So I gotta go way back for that one. So I did retail for a long time, trying to find just a job that was worth doing, and I started off in smaller stores, and then got the chance to run a Halloween store, one of those pop-up Halloween stores. So those things are crazy, you have 2 weeks to build the store and then hire a bunch of kids that have never run a register in their life and stuff. So through that, you meet a lot of people. So I met a girl and we started talking, and she liked me because I had money, I had a motorcycle, and she worked for me. She was totally out of my league at the time, dude.
Yeah.
My arms were like this. They were like, I had no muscle at all, never lifted weights a day in my life. Like, so we started dating, and she was just awful. I mean, the whole thing was just terrible. We would, and one of the things that stick out most in my mind is we went to a pool one day, like a community pool with a bunch of our friends, and there was this like jacked, shredded dude there, and she literally, as we walked by, went, damn, and like bit her lip at him and stuff, and I was like, really? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She was like, he's fucking hot, like, didn't give a shit. And I was like, okay, well, what the fuck? You know, like, I kind of looked at myself and was like, whoa, all right. So she ended up cheating on me like 4 or 5 times before I found out. And you know, I should have, you know, put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
And so we ended up breaking up, and I was like, fuck that. I'm going to make this chick want me, and every one of her friends want me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get freaking huge, and I'm going to become a fucking stripper. Fuck that.
All right.
So I was like totally not in shape. I just lost a bunch of weight. I just hit the treadmill every morning, 30 minutes, just dropped the weight. I wasn't even lifting. And then I found a local club, and I went there. And the manager was like, dude, I'm not putting you on stage. You don't look like the part. So I became a waiter. And through that, I met a bunch of guys who were totally willing to help me build muscle and take me under their wing and show me what I needed to do. And then I got big enough for the manager to throw me on stage once. And that night I made $150, which is like not bad for my first night, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. And that was that.
Dude, like, when you say the guys took you under their wing, was it a situation kind of like Magic Mike, where there was a dude that was like, hey, I'm going to take this kid, and I'm going to show him the ropes, and, you know, he's a good kid, and, you know...
Kinda.
Yeah?
Like kind of, because in that field, you know, it is kind of cutthroat, but as long as you're not walking on anybody else's, like, clients or trying to steal anybody else's stuff, they all want to help you succeed. Because if the club has good guys that brings girls in, they'll bring their friends.
So I got a question.
Friends will like the other guys.
Yeah. I got a question.
And then everybody makes money.
So I got a question. For the audience out there, I've never been to a male strip club. So what's the dress code? Is it like Chippendale bow tie and that was it, or like a Speedo?
So no, it's not that. That's Chippendale's like niche, right? That's how you know Chippendales. Male stripping is so much different than female stripping. Like, a girl can go out there and just start dancing and going on a pole or whatever. It doesn't matter. A guy has to have a thing called an act. So you have to, like, go out on stage with an act. Like, my niche was the cowboy because I like country music. So I would go out and I would be the sheriff, and you'd have to do this whole, like, bang, bang, like, I'm going to save these girls and everything. And you had to do, like, a theatrical, like, Broadway-esque, you know, thing before you even started to dance. So you had to have a different set of skills of being on stage.
Did you have to learn how to dance? Like, were you a good dancer to begin with, or...?
No, I'm a terrible dancer. I'm such a bad dancer.
It's the white gene sometimes.
I mean, you don't normally think about moving like that. Like, I would go home with, like, lower back pain just from, like, not moving like that ever.
No, but, like, I'm sure that the better dancers, just like in any other club, the better dancers are the ones that are going to do better as far as, you know, pay goes and attention, right?
Yeah, there was a guy there who was a male cheerleader, and he freaking killed it. I mean, he would go home with thousands of dollars a night.
Damn.
And there was another guy that he did like background dancing for artists, like he's in a P. Diddy video and things like that, and he freaking killed it. And then there's like this Hispanic guy, he came over from Cuba and like didn't speak any English and was like, what the fuck do? I can't get a job. And he freaking killed it because he could dance, and it was, if you could move, the ladies like that.
You know, like, that's the thing, that's the common denominator, and one of the things I like to talk about too with people is I hear a lot of guys complaining about not being able to get women, right? The one thing that you can do as a man to be able to get women, learn how to dance and learn how to dance well. If you learn how to dance well, any club, any city, anywhere in the world, you can pick up chicks. If you're the best dancer in the house, get any chick you want.
Well, here's the thing. I want to chime into that. So, piggybacking off what Jamie said, most girls just want you to talk to them. Am I right? Just go talk to them. Because if you're just gonna stand there and look pretty, I don't think that's enough, man.
No, I completely and utterly disagree with you. That just means you're not muscular enough. Period. Because girls, before I started lifting weights, I would get girls here and there, but the second that I put on muscle, the world freaking changed, dude.
Okay. To be fair, at the end of the day, a woman's gonna want a strong dude. They want to feel like you're gonna protect them, right? So we can agree on that front. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you could be a big, strong dude, but if you can't talk and you can't hold your own, I think it can only go so far. What do you guys think?
I disagree.
You know what? Like, I'll have to admit, and I'll put myself out there as always. Like, in all of the dating apps, they always say being Asian is a disadvantage, right? It's never been one for me.
You're lucky.
Like,
dude.
I have to block chicks, man.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And I do a lot better in certain cities. Like, for example, in Miami, do a lot better. Overseas, do a lot better. LA for whatever reason not as good, which is fine. But I've always found that the women hate when I talk. It's when I open my mouth that they get seriously turned off, right? Everything else is great. Like, if I could just stand there
and just be a body,
smile, dance, it's all good. But once I start telling jokes, I try to be humorous and try to keep a conversation going, they absolutely cut me off, and that's where I start to feel weird, right? Because then I start realizing, you know what? I think this chick just likes me for my looks, and I'm like, man, I don't know.
Well, in the beginning, everyone's gonna be attracted to your looks because, they don't know you, so we're gonna base the looks, as the beginning of everything.
True, but this right here, man, this is like what we call an alpha male, right? As far as like top of the food chain. Male stripper, gets any chick that he wants, because like to get to that level, like Truman said, they're not going to allow just anybody, ugly motherfucker to get on stage and dance. It's not good for the club, So did you have to have like a quota, like a minimum number that you had to make a night or something like that? So the house kitty too?
No, but like everybody has their own niche, like I was saying. So each niche has to kind of be filled. So I was always good because nobody else even liked country music to begin with. So I knew that, like, if there was a rodeo in Davie, all I had to do was go to the rodeo, pass out my cards, get all the chicks, and where was the after party going to be? At my club. Because they knew what it was about. Like, they were
awesome.
Chosen. And then there was, like, other country clubs around here. There's, like, Roundup, and there was a place called Cowboys. And I literally, like, get into those places and just solicit the shit out of myself. Compared to the other guys that are there with like dip in their mouth, and, they're just talking like this, and they don't give a fuck, they just went fishing, and if they see a well put together guy who's into himself, muscular, and likes the music too, they're like, oh, how do I get that?
Going back to that too, I've noticed that the second most important thing if you're looking to get a chick, and this could be, doesn't matter how you look like, right, is if you could sing. Like, if you could dance and you could sing or play instrument, it goes a long way. Like you were in a band, right? So how was that, man? When you were you were in a band, you were a male stripper. I mean, what more? You must have been quite satisfied, right? To say the least, right?
Well, I was the lead vocalist in a metal band.
There you go.
Yeah.
How was that as far as game?
It was awesome. Actually, I miss it. Like, I'm like looking at maybe getting back into music and starting over. It would obviously be a whole different game now, but I mean, you go on stage, you're going home with somebody. That's the end. If you want to, that's it.
Yeah, like, there's like certain jobs that you can do as a guy that if you just have them and you kind of work a little bit, you could do all right. Like, for example, I was the doorman, right, at a nightclub.
Dude, that's the best job, man.
Yeah.
Like you got the keys to the city.
Yeah.
If you're a doorman.
Doorman.
You control the ratio. You control whoever goes in that club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came in. I would look nice. I was friendly, and practically every night I'd have at least one or two numbers. If I didn't, then it was because I wasn't trying. It was like I wasn't working. You know what I mean? Like every musician I know that's decent at their trade, all day. They've got to they got to be blocking chicks. So.
Well, I mean, even when I was a waiter at the club, I mean, it was because if they couldn't get the guy that they wanted, because he had other plans to go with somebody else or whatever, they were looking for the next closest thing. That's the reality. They're already drunk.
Yeah.
And it's not like a normal club because they don't let just anybody in there. It's girls only.
Yeah.
Unless you're married to the chick.
Yeah.
And they'll let the husband come in because the husband gets off on that or whatever. But the reality of it is they don't feel threatened there, right?
Yeah.
They go to a club and they got some guy just randomly coming up and grinding on them, and they're like, "Well, what the fuck?" My girlfriends have to save me. There, it's not like that. They pick. They're the getters. They go out and try to get what they want. So it's a whole different scenario.
How many male dancers would be on in one night, just sort of hanging out? Like, how many guys would be there?
So they didn't cap it. So it could be minimum on like a crappy night, like a Wednesday when ladies drink free. That's how they get the girls in there, and you could have 6.
Oh, it doesn't sound
But
like
on
a lot.
a Saturday night, you could have like 25 to 30 guys in a rotation. So, and it starts off like you go on the main stage, and then you get off main stage, there's a side stage on the right, and there's a side stage on the left. After that, you're not seen for a long time unless you come out and there's these things like called the rails, where you can kind of just like sit there and move, and hopefully, some chick is like, oh, hey, he's better than the guy on stage, I want him. But for the most part, it's like your stage time is like how people see you. So you got to work it from there. And then
on your first dance.
You do what you're talking.
So on your first dance, how nervous were you, man?
I wasn't nervous because I was in the band to begin with.
Oh, okay. All right.
So like being in the band, being front and center, I was used to that already.
Like, so in essence, if you're a male stripper, it's a sure thing, right? Doesn't really matter how much you make. It's a sure thing. You can go home with somebody. At that point, it's a matter of you choosing to go home with someone, right? Like, if you want to go home with this chick,
Yep.
So, like, in other words, like you're in the position that very beautiful women are in, where they could pick and choose.
Yeah.
That's the position you want to be in.
So one of the most hardcore things I ever saw a guy do, his name was Hova. I don't know his real name.
Hova?
Nobody ever. Yeah, Hova.
Okay.
Nobody ever said their real names.
What was your name? If I could just.
So,
What was your name? What did you call
Harley.
yourself?
Harley.
Harley?
Motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, this chick comes up to him. She's freaking hot, man. She's definitely a 10. And she's like, "Can I get your number?" And she didn't pay him anything. She didn't tip him all night, whatever. And he's dancing there, and he goes 9, and he just keeps dancing, and he's looking away. And she's like, and he's like, "That's all you get until you start paying me."
I like it.
Like this is a job. Like,
Yeah.
Who are you? I'm Hova. Like, I'm up here. You're down there. No, that's not how this works.
No, man, like that's the way it should be, man. Like, like you got to get to the point where they want your attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I, as of late, man, I've been seeing all this like nonsense on the web about the incel movement, these guys that are like just bitching about life because they can't get a date. I think in Canada, one of the incels, quote unquote, went on a rampage and like shot like a bunch of people. And he cited that as a reason that he was rejected by a woman, so he went and he shot up a bunch of people. I'm like, damn, man, what is going on in this world, man?
I think even when those guys go shoot up these schools, I think a lot of it was because the girls were mean to him, man. They were making fun of him, and it just trickles, as you get older, right? But that little kid that or the teenager that went into school shooting everybody, I think he was bullied. They bullied him to a point where him himself was like, F it. I don't care anymore. Because in high school, no one talks about it, but we're mean to each other, man.
Oh, or particularly cruel. Yeah.
Dude, I was the outcasted, like, goth kid who had, like 3 friends, and I listened to heavy metal my whole life. People are like, oh, that's a stage. Shit, I still listen to it. But I was picked on all the time. Like, I had a girlfriend, but that was just because she liked that music too. It wasn't... High school sucked for me. I actually hated it.
Did you go to high school in Florida?
Say what?
Did you go to high school in Florida?
Yeah, I've been here my whole life.
Oh, okay. Dude, you should come out to California. Maybe we could, like, get you out here and put you on a gig. And then, you can
amateur night.
You can work at night, too. You can do... You could walk into a club. Now, what did you have to do to stay in good condition so that you could continue making money? Because that's your moneymaker, is your physique.
Right.
How would you go about, keeping in shape?
Just training 6 days a week. My one rest day, and my meals were, all measured out in macros and macro counting, which is the most important part of getting big and staying in shape. And then my cardio, once I got my 6-pack, it was just maintaining it with the 3 days a week of cardio. But before that, it was 6 days a week of cardio, just trying to get my 6-pack showing.
Yeah, that's important, right? Like, the women are going to go to the strip club. They don't want to see, like, keggers. They don't want to see beer belly. They want to see 6-pack, right? Because, they're paying money.
They won't even put you on the stage. You don't have to necessarily have a 6-pack to get on the stage, but it helps. It does make a huge difference. Something about that, like, you could be huge. I've seen guys up there, like, crazy, muscular, huge, like, they could lift 1,000 freaking pounds just with their pinkies, like, gargantuan guys, but because they're not shredded, the girls run into them.
Yeah, I think that in real life, separate and aside from the club, there are ladies that are attracted to kind of like, husky kind of guys, bigger dudes, country strong kind of guys. But if they're going to pay for something, right, that's different. If they're going to go pay to go to a club, they want to see the guys in, like, absolutely shredded condition, which makes sense.
Right.
How much were they charging women to get in to the club?
So it depended. They gave us these cards, they're like, they give a free entry. And if they can get as many of those in there, they're buying drinks. They're not making money off really the entry.
Okay.
So like Wednesdays and Sundays was free entry, and then it was like $5 or $10 every other night.
Nice.
But like they were selling bottles, like $100 bottle of something for $20. You can go down to the liquor store and buy it. So they're not making their money off that. They're making their money off the drinks.
And like how crazy did the women get in there?
Oh God, they were nuts because it was free range. They, like I said, they didn't feel threatened.
Yeah.
So they would just completely let loose. Like, if you go to a strip club and you grab a chick, you're getting your ass kicked by the bouncer.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't work like that then. A chick comes up and grabs your junk, and you're fending for yourself. And I'm like, you're bigger than me, dude. What do you want me to do? I'm here to like keep the chicks in line. Like, you're here, you police yourself. So I'm like, dude, like, what the hell? But yeah, they're wild.
What's the absolutely most crazy thing that you've ever seen happen at the strip club when you were dancing?
that I remember.
That you remember, yeah.
Because there's a lot of nights I don't remember. But we were doing a big event, like, for breast cancer awareness. And basically all of the money that we were getting, we were putting in this donation, like, tube to donate to breast cancer research. And the women were losing their minds. Because not only were we good looking, but we were getting money for a good cause at the same time.
Yeah.
So when we counted the money, we had made $50,000 in one night.
What?
Damn.
But that was all of the guys putting the money together for the breast cancer research. So $50,000 to breast cancer research the club donated. But of course we couldn't donate it under the club name or anything. So
no, but like that's a good cause, man. At least you guys are doing something. I definitely do think that there's a difference between when a man is a dancer and when a woman's a dancer. I think with men, I think people kind of look at it as kind of a funny thing. You know what I mean? Because like the guys can fend for themselves for the most part. You know what I mean? Yes, yeah. You're gonna get sexually harassed, man. There's no doubt about it. They're gonna grab you.
Oh man, I was like, on a normal day on the street, like if I saw a chick, like I had no shame. Like I didn't care. Like I knew I was in good shape, and I was just trying to make more clients, more money, you know, more customers. So I would see like a chick at a gas station, like working a cash register, and I'd be like, "Hey, come see me some night." You know, like I'm a stripper. I don't give a fuck. You know, like, everybody knew. I didn't care.
Well, yeah, but like, see, you were at the top of the food chain. You know what I mean? Like you were a male stripper. You could dance. You were in great condition, right? So you had that ability. Like I think that a lot of guys know that they're not, and I think that's where a lot of the insecurity comes from, right? It's sort of like repressed in the back of their brain, you know. But there's a lot of ways you could correct that, you know. And I'm always like, man, you know, just
my only advice is literally go to the gym.
Yeah.
You will not know what you have been missing. I wish I would have known back when I was in high school. I would have joined the weightlifting team. Like I would have taken that class. Like the world is completely different. I mean, getting jobs even. Like when you start putting on muscle and you need to go like get a regular job, it doesn't matter. You know, like people look at you differently. The world's completely different.
Absolutely. You know, when I was in high school, I too was like really, really super skinny. I had bad acne, bad hair.
How much did you weigh in high school?
135 pounds.
Dude, same like me, dude.
Yeah, so 135 pounds. And then once I started to fill out a little more, you know, skin started to clear up in my... And I was a late bloomer in my 30s. I would say like between 28, 30, 31, 32, around there. And, you know, I started, you know, broadening out. I could definitely tell the difference between how people treated me. You know,
right.
And I'm like, whoa, you know, like, why are people treating me good? You know?
For me, going to the gym was, I didn't see it right away because I was scrawny, right? High school, I was probably like, no joke, 110, 5'6".
Wow.
Sophomore year. I didn't hit 5'10" until I was like senior year. I had this growth spur, but I didn't really hit the gym until I was 23, and by that time I was like 118. But once I put in 15 pounds of just muscle, like I was like, clothes fit you better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're right. You not that the muscles like boosted my confidence, but I just like how clothes fit me now, and I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be?
No, and you won't notice it, but people treat you better. You know, you get you command more respect for whatever reason. I mean, it's just human nature. You know, is what it is. You know.
Yep.
But I like to tell that story about how, like, you know, one of our guys in Florida was a male stripper. Just fucking, I love it. We have another guy, by the way. We have another guy in LA that does it, and I'm gonna try to convince him to come on. Mm-hmm. We've got another dude, but I think he's like on the, you know, doesn't want anybody to know, blah blah, because he's like trying to be like a legit actor. So,
right.
You know what I mean? Did you have any guys like that, like guys that were trying to be actors and shit, that were dancing on the side?
Yeah. Most of the guys there all want to do something, you know, other than that.
Sure.
Right? So, but sometimes if you're good at it, the money's just too good. You'll literally, I mean, I can compare it to a bartender at a really good place. If a bartender gets a hot night, they're making thousands of dollars that night, you know, by flipping drinks, except dancing isn't even as hard as bartending. You know, bartending is fast paced. You're freaking constantly going. You're like, drink, next. You know, like I wouldn't be able to do that.
I was a bartender, and you're right, man. A bartender, we're looking at the number of drinks we can push out, because the faster you are, the more drinks you get out, the more money you make, and it makes sense, right? And it gets crazy, man. Bartending, because people want their drinks and they want it now, and they also want you to pour heavily. But the glass is the glass. If I mess up the ratio, it's gonna taste like shit, and you're not gonna come back to me, and you're not gonna give me more tip, you know? So there's a balance of everything.
Dude, what was the biggest night that you've had as far as money goes? What was the biggest night?
So my birthday, I worked for like an entire month of advertising my birthday, and it was every chick that dressed in like a cowgirl got in for free and got one free shot. So there was a lot of people there. A lot of cowgirls there, and I went home with $5,000 that night.
Nice.
Just about 5. I don't know if it was exactly. I don't really remember because I was wasted myself. I mean, all the guys, because they were making so much money, they were all buying me birthday shots. So it was like shot after shot, and then I went on stage. I don't even remember going on stage. But there's a guy who like collects all the money for you, and you tip him at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And like, I just remember him being like, "I'm getting a good tip tonight."
Hey man, $5,000 a night? That's a damn good night, man. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, but that's honestly, that's not that common. There were nights when I would make $20, and that's literally gas money, because there was like no country girls there.
Yeah.
So like the rap nights, I couldn't make a freaking dime, dude. Like if it was a hip hop night, rap, or like a Hispanic night, like sometimes I could get the Hispanic girls, but it's a rare breed to find a black chick who's into a cowboy. So,
no, you told me that you got lucky a couple times with some black chicks, right?
Yeah, I had some black clients who would come in and they only wanted me, but still, like, 1 out of the sea of girls that would be in there, I wasn't making shit that night.
Dude, tell the audience what it feels like when the women actually come to a place to see you and they want to pay your bills. That must be an incredible feeling.
Yeah. So you got to run a store, right? Like you have to make them your personal client. So you exchange numbers after they've been tipping you throughout the night, and make them feel like they're really important. Like, hey, are you coming? I want to see you. And they're always like, hey, why do we have to see each other at the club all the time? And it's kind of like, well, I have a strict, schedule. I'm going to school, or whatever. Make it seem like you're constantly busy, and the only free time that you have is when you're working the club. And it gets to a point where you stop responding to their text. And they're like, what's going on? They'll come to the club and see you and be like, oh, my phone got cut off because I couldn't pay my phone bill, and my car is low on gas, so I couldn't make it to the club that night. And they'll be like, oh, well, here, let me take care of you. And you got to spin those webs and make it seem like you don't really make as much as you do, because some nights you really don't. It's rough, but.
No, but that's the trick, though. It's an incredible feeling just to have the women come in and pay your phone bill. Let's say your phone bill is $200. She comes in and she pays for it, man. That's shit.
So
you know what I mean?
One guy, he had a Seminole chick, and Seminole
yeah.
from the government and whatnot, and his name was Logan. And I kid you not, this guy looked straight up like Superman out of the comic books.
Yeah.
Huge, shredded, with the black hair, the glasses and everything. He looked straight up like Superman. This chick would come in, and to sit with them for an hour is $140.
Wow.
Or something like that, $160. She would buy him literally the whole night, other than when he went on the stage.
Wow.
So she's looking at 8 to 10 hours, plus whatever she tips, plus whatever, drinks she buys and whatnot.
So call it for that, man. 1,500 would be on the low end for the night with her. 1,500, 1,600. My God, can you imagine a woman coming in and spending 1,500? How much would you have to give the house out of that?
So the house would have a flat fee to dance, and it was usually like $20. I think. I don't really remember. But
they make their money off alcohol, right? They make their money off alcohol sales and stuff like that, right? And you guys just pay the flat fee.
Like they don't pay any of their staff.
Oh.
The bartenders don't get paid. The waiters don't get paid. The DJ doesn't get paid. The dancers don't get paid. Literally nobody gets paid. It's all revolving the money that the dancers get. So like the DJ gets 20% of whatever you make that night, because without the DJ you're not making a dime.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Because if he doesn't run the right music, you could be the hottest guy on stage. If he plays country on a hip hop night like me, I wouldn't make anything. But if he somehow spins that around and changes a country song into a hip hop song, I can make money. So the DJ makes 20%. The runner, he makes what you feel like giving him, because all he's doing is really collecting money. And if he wants to steal from you, he can. So you want to tip him good, because if you don't tip him good, he's just going to steal your money.
Yeah. But you know what, man? Like,
and then,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
The waiters, they would collect the tips and tip the bartender out, because without the bartender, they couldn't make any money.
Yeah.
You know, the money just revolved through everybody's hands. It was like a big, family kind of thing. You had to like everybody else because, everybody took care of each other.
I mean, you must feel like you're on top of the world, right? When you're completely shredded, you're pumped full of like testosterone. You're having all the women. They're paying for your bills. That's like a 99% of guys' fantasy right there. You know what I mean? You're living the dream. How did you keep your head grounded when you had
I'm completely being honest with you. Like, I literally remember walking into the middle of the road and watching a car come at me and go, hit me. I'm the Hulk. It'll just break around me. Like, legitimate. Like, that's how whacked out I was when I was dancing. I thought I was like a walking god. And, a bunch of my friends that I had, like, growing up in high school, and like friends that I made before I started dancing, like they couldn't handle it. Like they couldn't bring me back down to reality, and it took me a while to come back.
Well, like, what do you mean by just being? You were just cutting loose. You were doing whatever the fuck you wanted, whenever you wanted.
Pretty much. Like if there was a dude, like I went to the mall, right, to buy whatever. And there was a chick there that I thought was attractive, and she was with a guy, I would literally walk up and like step between the guy and the girl and be like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm Harley."
So you were borderline douche.
I was straight douche. Forget that. But I didn't care because I knew I could take care of it. Like if somebody wanted to step forward, I had martial arts since I was 6 years old. Like, do you really want to fight a muscle-bound dude? Like, who knows what he's doing? Forget just a muscle-bound dude to begin with. I'm gonna play you like a puppet and make you look like a joke in front of your girl.
No, man, like that's incredible. I just love hearing that, because there's just like this misconception, man, like about how women are at an advantage and this and that. It's not the case. If you take care of yourself, you put on a little muscle, you dress right, you have a little skills in some areas, dude, it levels the playing field,
Well, I met my wife at the club.
Oh, that's right. You met your wife at the club.
Yeah. So, like, you're not allowed to go up and talk to the girls. You get a fine. Because...
How much was that fine?
Looked down upon. It depends on how bad the violation is. So, like, if you're out there, like, talking to a chick and the manager comes up and like, hey, don't do that again. And you do it anyway. And he's going to be like, next time you're getting a fine. If he warned you beforehand, you can look at a couple $100 fine. Otherwise, you're not dancing there anymore. But if he wants to be a jerk and, like, he's like, the rules, you've been here long enough, usually it was $25.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So she was at the bar, and I had just gotten off stage, and my main thing is when I got off stage, I wanted to go down and get a Red Bull because I've been up since like 6, 7 in the morning training. Go to the gym, train for 2 hours, go eat, go back to the gym, hit cardio, then go shower and clean up and get ready for the club. Like I was up from 7, 8 in the morning to 2, 3 in the morning. And so I would always go run and grab a Red Bull because then my face was still like fresh to the girls that were at the bar not tipping. But I did notice my wife like sitting at the bar by herself, drinking and not talking to anybody. So like I went by and I did the whole little like, you know, but I can't really talk to you type of thing. So I like ordered my drink, and when I walked back by, she stuck her hand out and she like grabbed my stomach and she stopped me and she was like, "Hey, you know, you're the only guy that's caught my eye here tonight. I want to, you know, get to know you." And I was like, "Listen, I'd love to talk to you, but I can't. You know, the manager, he'll give me a fine. But go ahead and talk to the bartender, and he can arrange something for us." So what that is I worked with the bartender to be able to talk to her, you know, to be able to get to know her a little better because I thought she was hot anyway. You know, like I was like, yeah, if I can make money off a hot chick, I'm cool with that. And at the time, I was actually dating a model. So like, the bartender set it up so we could have like a private dance type of thing, and we bullshitted and hung out for a little bit. And then she started buying me drinks, and then I had to go back because my time was like done. It was like, all right, you made this from her, go back, otherwise she's got to pay some more. So then she came back another night and bought another dance, and then I told her about like the hour sessions, how we could hang out for like an hour and like really talk and get to know each other. So she got one of those, and I told her like I was dancing as, you know, like a side gig. I wanted to get into being a police officer because that was always like my goal. And I was dating somebody at the time, and she was like, "Well, that's not gonna work out." Like that's literally what she told me. She goes, "That's not gonna work out. I can already see it. Like, you don't like where you're at. You don't want to date a model. You don't want to do this. Like, I'm going to try to get you out of this life." So the model was like super high maintenance. Like, she needed attention everywhere she went. And I got into a couple fist fights over it. And I was like, "Look, I can't risk going to work with a black eye because you decided to mouth off to some dude, you know, because your boyfriend can kick his ass. I'm still gonna get hit. You know, like, that's the thing in a fight. Nobody really wins. I'm still gonna go to work with a freaking black eye and have to explain to all the girls why do I have a black eye that night." But I cut it off with her, and that night, literally that same day, I called my wife and was like, "Listen, you were right. You know, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for a different life. I want to do something." And she goes, "Well, let's go out." And literally, I went to her place and we just hung out. We didn't even sleep together that night, believe it or not. And like, I literally never left. She treated me so good, and, you know, always pushed my ambitions and was behind me so much that I never went back to my place. I just moved in and
never moved out.
So how did she know? See, women have this intuition, right? How did she know that it wasn't going to work out between you and the girl you were seeing at the time?
Because just by, I guess, the small conversations that we've had, like, you know, bullshitting about life, because I was always really, like, legitimate. Like, I did spin some webs to try to get money and stuff, but for the most part, I was genuine. Like, this is what I'm doing, but these are my goals. Like, I want to eventually become a police officer if I could, and that was, you know, what I really, really wanted to do. So she could see that I wasn't, like, just bullshitting her. So, and she saw that, like, I was a douche and like, but that really wasn't me. That was like all of the, life, that kind of life was just steering me in that direction. So she just straight up said, that's not going to work out. And I can see it.
Amazing. So then how did you go from stripping to the tactical world?
So I always liked firearms since I was, I did martial arts, and I did that transition basically when I was 16. I had shot, guns, but nothing like crazy, like little 22s here and there and whatever. But when I was 16, my dad took me to the range and was like, this is a Glock, this is a Smith & Wesson, this is this. And like from there, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. And then from there, I was like, I'm going to join the military. So went to the recruiter's office at 18, and I have hyperthyroidism, so I have to take a pill for that. And I'm colorblind as hell, which I didn't know at the time.
Oh.
So I got a pretty high score on the ASVAB, and they wanted me to like work on Apache helicopters and stuff because I had all that kind of like engineering background. And then I went to MEPS, and they found out that, because I didn't tell them I had hyperthyroidism, they found out about it, and they saw that I was colorblind as crap, and they were like, listen, we can't take you. So I went to my doctor, and I was like, look, write a letter saying I don't need to take this medication anymore. I want to join the military, that's what I want to do. I'm ready for that. And he wrote a letter, and they still were like, look, we just can't risk it. So I still hung out in the recruiter's office for months, just trying to figure out a way to get in, if I could even be, like reserves or whatever. And the recruiter was really cool. He was like, I've never seen somebody get turned down and want it so bad. Like, he's like, I want to help you, but I can't help you. I can, you can come work out with us if you want to do like our workouts before we start shipping guys to boot camp and stuff. But, I felt kind of defeated at that point. And I kind of switched gears to wanting to become a cop. And then when they hear about my background, all the crazy shit I did, they're just like, you're not working for a department. Like, you're out of your goddamn mind. You were a stripper. You were this, you were that. Because I could never pass the lie detector tests and whatnot. So that never really branched out either. So I got into security, and I was like, look, I have a fucking skill set, like, of things that I can help people learn and shooting. And I see a lot of police officers who aren't trained to a level that I feel like they need to be. Or security officers who don't know what the hell they're doing with a firearm, but they're paid to hold one, and they're more of a risk to themselves and other people than actually helping them. So I got into security, and I decided that, I have these skills, so I'm going to open my own company and try to start teaching people how to safely and effectively use their firearms.
Yeah. Like, what do you recommend for people that just got into firearms? And you know what? And speaking in generalities, I know a lot goes into it. But what would you recommend someone's first firearm be when they first start carrying?
It's all about personal preference. In reality, I would suggest you go to the range and just rent like 5 different firearms. Like rent an M&P, rent a Glock, rent a 1911, platform, all of these different platforms to get your feel. Glock is like the main boy that everybody uses, the main company, but a lot of people don't like it, and it just doesn't feel right. So you have to personally go in there and see. You could be a Beretta person, you could be an M9 type of person and be shooting a Glock and like hate shooting because you're like, I hate this gun. But it's the gun. Yeah,
it really depends on personal preference, I think. And fortunately enough, being from Florida, you could actually have access to guns. Because in California, it's a lot more difficult to even buy one. You know, it's just crazy.
The California gun law is just so janky.
Yeah, it's terrible here. You know, like it's you know, like a lot of people say, hey, you know, I live in one of the free states, like right, Florida. Florida's one of the free states.
Yeah, for now. I mean, I don't know how long it'll be, but hopefully.
You know what I always like to tell people is that the reason why I like Florida is that it is a true swing state. It's pretty much split right down the middle, red and blue. It can go red one year, go blue, you know, that same year, and I think that's a good balance. You know what I mean? Versus like you know, California, which is always blue. But look at all the difficulties we have in California, right? It's always like, man, you know, like at times it could feel very repressive.
Oh yeah,
with the laws and the taxes and things. So.
I think we need a free thinker. We need someone to mix it up and speak to the generation now, because they're still running it like it was 30 years ago. Things change, man. Technology has changed us, how we do things, and we need leadership that understands.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. You know. And then with this coronavirus happening, you know, like that's been a topic for our last 3 episodes. It's like we just been talking about coronavirus, you know, because it's so engulfing and every state's handled it different. Like at least Florida's opening up a little bit, right? At least they're attempting to. In California, they're trying to tell us to stay home for another 3 months.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll stay home. Give me my stimulus. Freeze all my bills. Do what, and I will stay home. But you can't ask people to stay home when you're asking them to use their life savings to pay to stay afloat. That's not going to happen. I mean, who's in the right mind is going to do that?
Yeah. No, it's logistically impossible. You cannot. You know, I had my doubts about having people stay home for 2 months, and then they became 3 months, and then here in California, another 3 months on top of it. Dude, we've got people moving out of the state. They're like, you know what, the hell with it. I'll just go to one of the free states and live there and like having, you know, a normal life.
We're gonna see a drop of rent prices, home prices. I mean, it's gonna be bad. I'm not here to predict the future, but all the stuff that I'm seeing, it's gonna be hard for us to recover, man.
Yeah.
You're asking us to go back to work, and half of the economy is not gonna get back in line. And how are we going to make the same money we did 3 months ago? I don't see it. I think it's going to take us 2-3 years to get it going again.
Yeah.
Because we are such a service state. People come here to get entertained. People come here for the bars, the clubs, the beaches. And you take all that away, what do we really have?
You have nothing. You know, like Hollywood is another big one. So, you know, the industry here, the entertainment industry is big in California, obviously. That's it. They're not even thinking about doing productions because the insurance companies are not insuring productions. They're not insuring actors. They just won't do it because, like, if an actor gets sick on set, it's over. You know, you get one of these A-listers said they have to suspend filming for who knows how long until they recover if an actor dies.
Well, think about it this way. There's already a lot of money being put down in post-production, right? Before we even shoot, there's already a lot of money being paid. We locked down the location, that's being paid, and we paid all the crew already, that's being paid. And then if they have to shut down production, that's why they have to have insurance to cover that cost for that day because the money is already spent. And I just don't see it. I don't see it at this point in time that we're going to be shooting anytime soon, because if I was an A-list actor, how can you guarantee me that the co-workers that I'm working around are going to be good to go?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You know, crazy though. What's crazy is like somebody brought to my attention this. Like, I believe the virus is real, right? But in a sense, like he kind of like made me start thinking. He was like, "Look, if the virus was really as bad as they say it is, how come the homeless aren't dying in the thousands? These essential workers that are working at Walmart and Target and the grocery stores are not dying in the thousands." And how come none of these politicians have gotten it, nor any of their family members? They can't be keeping it that contained. There's no way that these people wouldn't be exposed, or they're hiding the fact.
To be fair, if we were dying in the thousands, shit, Jamie, we're doing this podcast at home. You know, and people, that's what we look at, right? We look at what you say and what's really happening. And I'm not taking away that, you know, we can't be dying by the thousands, because I think, you know, a lot of countries did what they had to do. We jumped in front of it. And now a lot of people feel, hey, we're good. No one's dying. The hospital's not getting full. Let's reopen. And to be fair, if we all wear masks and do what we had to do, I'm good with that. But we weren't.
Think about it. This virus was in a level 4 containment facility and got out. Your cloth mask is not going to do shit. I don't care what they say. It's a piece of fabric. It's not going to stop it from you getting it. It's just not.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, and like this is why I look at it too, man. Is that no government will ever let a disaster or a virus go to waste. So they'll use it. I believe the virus is real, but they're using that as an excuse to, you know, maneuver, so to speak, right?
And you know what's the sad part? We talk about this every show, it seems. The misguided information. We all hear bits and pieces, right? I'm hearing 10 different sides, and I read all 10, and then I have to sit here and go back to school and do homework and say, hey, okay, what is consistent? What is the common denominator? And why do I have to do that? Why can't we just have a person that comes, tells how it is, tell us what we all need to do, so we all can move forward, because we all are tired of this shit.
No, they don't want to tell us, because they're going to be able to maneuver a little bit. The less we know, right? They'll be able to maneuver policies here and there. They'll be able to, like, you know, get things done that they weren't able to do. They're going to take advantage of the situation.
You know what scares me? What are they doing behind the scenes?
That's what I'm saying, man.
You know, like, they're showing you all this media, but what are they really passing laws? What are they doing behind the scenes?
Oh. That's the scary part.
Out, right? There was a woman who was hired to report the numbers of people who were dying and getting infected. Well, they asked her to lie about it and stop pumping the numbers out. So they gave her an ultimatum. They said, you can quit and we'll pay you the stimulus to keep quiet, or, you know, you can go out and get fired and eventually, you know, get killed, because that's what they do. So she ended up going to the media and, like, telling them, like, they're still in Florida getting thousands of people a day that were not being told about. So when my buddy, you know, came up with that whole scenario, why aren't we hearing about this in the thousands? Because they're not telling us.
Yeah.
They're
you know,
these numbers. You know, they want to reopen so that the world can go back to a semi-normal reality, but
I'm proud of her, man. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her that she stood her ground, because we need people like that. We can't have what do you call them? Yes people? They just agree. Yeah. They just agree to everything. We need people to, if like, for example, if you know something is wrong or you're an expert in it and you stay quiet, that helps nobody. If I had information that can save your life, I'm gonna step up to the plate. And sometimes there's a little quote that says, sometimes doing the right thing makes you look really bad.
Yeah.
But you got to do it because it's the right thing to do. You don't stop because someone, you know, I'm proud of her, man. She should get whatever she wants, man, because people need to know these numbers. Let the American people make that decision, you know? Right. Don't cover it up. We're going to be in worse shape if we keep covering things up.
Yeah. Like, there's definitely some behind the scenes stuff going on, you know? Like, I think that after the first month, like, we probably would have been all right to go reopen, but everything after that, man, it's beginning to sound sketchy, you know.
I wouldn't say the first month here. I mean, we have a lot of elderly. You know, everybody comes to retire in Florida.
Oh, that's true.
So they're getting hit really, really hard, you know, and the elderly are getting it, and then they don't realize that they have it. So they go see their grandkids, and then their grandkids have it, and then, you know, it's spreading like wildfire. And then now they're finding out that younger kids who they were saying originally aren't affected are having horrible problems. Like a bunch of their major systems are getting hit now, and they're dying. The young kids are dying from it just after the fact, you know? So it's I believe this disease is man-made. I don't believe it's natural.
You don't think it came from like one of those pangolins, one of those creatures that the Chinese people were eating? Bat soup? You don't believe in bat soup, man?
Dude, this thing is too smart, right?
Yeah.
So first, originally it was only attacking elderly. So even people under the age of 35 were okay, right? Even in their 40s, they were okay. They weren't getting it. They were exposed to it. And then all of a sudden it switched to, okay, now people in their 20s are getting it and dying.
Here's. I agree with you.
Again, for like, you're getting a stroke.
I agree with you. I agree 100%, and here's why. When man makes something, we can kill instantly. If we want to do with a cyanide, it kills instantly. And viruses, it kills gradually. It plays the long game. Anything man-made, anything man can make, we kill instantly. If you think about it, anything that put in the lab, if we let it out and it was really that bad, it would kill instantly. It would humans would just be dropping like flies. Viruses don't work like that. Viruses are natural. They take time to infect the whole system, but they take time. That's just what I feel about it.
Well, you know, like...
Well, I mean, they're not going to go ahead and release something that's like, hey, you know, we're going to release this and it's a biological weapon and it's going to kill you in a minute. Like, they want to make it seem like it's a virus and that it wasn't man-made. Like, they don't want it to seem like China is trying to kill us or whoever let it out was trying to kill us. But,
you know, also it's weird because I know that some people like are like with a certain blood type are not getting it as easily. So that's the thing that kind of made me go, well, why is it that there's a certain section of the human race that just doesn't get it? You know, because they have like a natural sort of immunity. That's kind of weird to me. For me, it's kind of weird. Like people with like type O blood, they have a more difficult time getting it.
Well, check this out. So depending where you're from, right? Say in America, all the food we eat are processed. We eat a lot of chemicals. So technically, our body's not even running at 100%.
Right.
And then going to what you just said, some people aren't getting it because they might be exercising more. They might be eating better. We don't know. There's a bunch of factors that go into it. But I do agree with what you said. Well, what you said. Some people are probably just not gonna get it because of just lifestyle.
No, but it's crazy. Like blood type of all things. Doesn't that sound like, you know, contrived? Like first it was going after people that were of a certain age, you know, like 50 and over, and then, you know, if you had some sort of pre-existing condition, then, you know, you'd be more vulnerable. And then all of a sudden, you've got kids, you know, X number of years and under, but you have this like group of people that are excluded from that. That just sounds weird to me. You know, normally, like I think if it's a natural virus, everyone's just going to get it, right? But there's people that are carriers.
There's never been like a virus that has switched the way it's attacking you like this does.
Yeah.
Right? You get cancer in your lungs. It sticks to cancer in your lungs, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't switch to cancer in your nose.
No.
It doesn't switch to cancer in your prostate. You know, like, it doesn't do that. This virus is literally going from your lungs to your brain to your heart to your, you know, everything. It just doesn't seem like something.
Here's what they do know about the virus. It will evolve from person to person, and that's why the cure is going to be hard, because there's going to be, by then, it's going to be like 100 different strands.
Yeah.
How do you stop a thing that's evolving?
Right.
Yeah. Well, cool. Is that the cue?
That's the time, man. That's the
That's
timer.
the cue, man.
All right.
Listen, before we go, I anybody who's watching, we want to thank you in advance. And if you have a comment and you'd like to ask us any questions, feel free to comment. We will entertain anything at this point. And we are broadcasting in Anchor, YouTube, soon to be Apple Podcasts.
Spotify.
We have the new Draken Station logo. I mean, check it out. We are excited. I mean, it exceeded my expectations. What about yours?
This is crazy. You know, like we've got nothing but positive reviews so far from our friends and followers. And if you want to ask any one of us a question, if you want to ask Truman about his views on any subject, we're going to leave a
Or
link.
you want to hire Truman for private parties.
We're going to leave a link to his page in the description. So hit us up. And this is show number 4, episode number 4. And we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
All right.